How are you?
Doing well.
Nice to see you again.
As always, as always.
As always, yes. So, hi guys, this is the Working Money Podcast with host Michelle Wong
Sarah Isabella.
and we have a great guest. His name is Shawn Hiner, right here from Philadelphia. So, Shawn, I'm glad to have you on the show.
Well, thank you.
And
it's a pleasure to be here.
Let's get started. So, Shawn, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So always had entrepreneurial mindset. And come from a family, lots of entrepreneurs. Aunt has her own private practice. My dad's side of the family has a farm out in Indiana. So have definitely a history there. So it was kind of nature that I got into this. Went to school for marketing and econ as well, and have excelled in that. Yeah, definitely. So that's kind of where my background is, and how I got started in my company. So,
Okay, interesting. And how long have you been with your company? Like, how
so
long has it
we've been going for about 2 years now.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. So definitely been a roller coaster, to say the least.
I can definitely relate to that. I think for my viewers, they know the story. I always share the story almost all the time. Basically, I've had my podcast for like over a year.
Okay.
I've had my real estate business and other ventures for like 2 years, and it's not an easy thing. It's not. It has its moments where sometimes you sit there and you kind of question, why am I doing this? And then you have to pull yourself from that and remind your why. And then from your why is that kind of pulls me back into moving forward. So it's not an easy thing to dive into, but I commend you for it because you're going out doing your own thing and just keeping on your grind.
Yeah, exactly. I'm no stranger to a 16-hour day. That's definitely that's actually a regular day for me, for the most part. It's interesting to see where it came. So I actually started out in the music industry.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So to give you a little bit more of my company's background, so I actually had a little bit of background in music and have a lot of friends in that career field. So and with that, we started marketing musicians.
Oh, okay.
So that's how it all started out.
Okay.
And a couple of my friends have some big names, and I use those names to then leverage myself into the business-to-business sector. And one of the top 50 marketing research agencies in the U.S. was one of my first B2B clients. So we really grew it from there, and I've learned so much from my clients. And about who they serve, that then you can learn to serve your clients better that way as well. So it's been a wonderful growing experience, to say. Yeah.
It is. So in regard to the type of clients that you have in that music industry, in that background, is it people like in the Philadelphia area, or is it like national?
So they started out in the Philadelphia area, and then moved up to New York a little bit as well. And so I have friends from music all over the country now. We all started out in the Philly area and then just spread all over the place. And some of them are doing really big things, which is awesome. So
Okay,
yeah.
That's great to know. Well, that's great to know, you guys, because now you know that it's not just here locally, but it's national as well. So if you want to connect with Shawn in that aspect, you would reach out to him and see how he can help you out on that.
Absolutely.
And Sarah, do you have any interesting questions to ask?
Sure. Why business? Why marketing? And how are you integrating music into that? Or are you integrating music into that?
Um, so business actually came uh, from my story. Really is where I went through a couple of introspective periods early on, especially as a musician and while I was in college, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Um, and I also figured out the biggest reason that I had success in music was because of my network and my ability to network. So then being able to utilize those skills, that was those networking skills and also I've always had a little bit of a mathematical mindset. Um, so combining those two together is what brought me to marketing. So marketing, when done properly, actually has a very heavy um, math involvement.
Yes.
So uh, currently, I'm working on trying to figure out an equation to predict human behavior using different calculus derivatives found in finance um, and uh, manipulating some physics equations and different things like that to mess around with it just to see if it works. So something I do in my spare time. But
That's interesting. But you know what? In retrospect, business does with the music industry. People are not aware that it is a business all on its own, and
It is.
sometimes they think it's something so far fetched, and it's not. It's an umbrella of all of the other businesses. So you have entertainment, you have music, you have art, you have anything in the creative realm is still within business because you're still interacting and working with people, clients that are looking to get your services or they're looking to purchase something in that fashion. So it's still a business.
oh, music is 100% a business.
Yes.
Um, and you have to have an entrepreneurial spirit to get into music. Whether it be starting your own record label, being a performing artist, you have to be able to sell and position yourself. Know how to work with an audience.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's basically, this is how folks, basically this is the factor. When you're in music and you're an artist, a musician, an artist, singer, whatever the case may be, you're branding yourself. You're representing yourself as a brand. So if you are Taylor Swift or what's the other one's name? Ariana Grande
Slim Sarah.
or Slim Sarah. You're representing a brand. You're representing what you reflect as the type of music that you want to put across and what kind of image that you're trying to put across to your audience. And based upon that is what would be the end results of what type of people that will purchase your product. So that's all within the business. It's just how to, I guess, market is one because it's just how you're representing it out to the market. If people don't know who you are and you're just doing things locally, it's not going to show unless you have someone that would be able to help you market it out so that people know who you are. And that's usually what happens through the videos, through the interviews. Like if you go to specific, like the radio station, TV, and you're doing interviews, the magazines, they write articles on you. That's all form of marketing. And it's very important if you want to put yourself out there. And that's in anything that you do, not just in music, but overall in business. You're always constantly representing yourself, branding yourself, and trying to sell yourself out to individuals that would purchase whatever product or service that you have. With that being said, what type of marketing do you do? Because I know I've seen a lot of digital media marketing.
Yeah.
Is that exactly what you do?
Yep. So I do a lot of digital.
Yes.
I also have a partner brand that does magazine cover wraps. So we do print marketing as well.
Yes.
From that
Yes.
aspect. So we'll put your company on the cover of Inc. magazine and send it out to potential clients or current clients that you want to get business from, those kinds of things. So definitely social media, email. Uh, Part of marketing is also web design and web development too.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a big IT aspect to my company.
Yes.
And branding and branding a website, all that kind of thing. So
Okay.
yeah.
So let's break it down so that the people out there that might not be aware, because because I get people that are looking to either start out or they're trying to find a footing into whatever industry that they're in. Let's say they're in the entertainment or music industry. Basically, with digital marketing, that means that you're putting a platform out there for to be seen, and most notably, it would be through social media.
Absolutely.
Because that's like the bigger platform that we have right now. So you're looking at Facebook, you're looking at Instagram, you're looking at Twitter, and that goes out to millions of people globally. So it's not just being seen here, it's being seen somewhere in, like, let's say Australia or somewhere in Japan. It's being seen internationally. And by you tapping into the social media, it covers all of that. I know that certain people have specific areas of expertise. Some people are very good with the Facebook platform or Instagram. I see Instagram being like more of trying to get like a bigger audience.
Yeah. So after Facebook's acquisition of Instagram, they were able to provide better analytics, uh, those kinds of things. So then that way their users and companies who are looking to advertise were really could really see who was liking things, what exactly they were liking, right? So what kind of pieces of content. Social media marketing content is key always, and analytics helps you define what content is going to be most engaging to your customers and what they're going to be most interested in. So it's a lot of a trial and error process, or what's called A/B testing. So putting two things up side by side and seeing which one does better. Um, so from a social media and Instagram standpoint, that's really where they excelled and why Facebook has done really well with them. The other thing is photo content always is going to do better than just your standard worded post, because as we all know, a picture's worth 1,000 words.
Yes.
So.
Yes, definitely.
But yeah, so that's really thoughts on Instagram and why that became so big and as prevalent as it is in the social media market right now. That is the new thing.
Yes.
So
I've seen that that's like the biggest trend, I would say, is Instagram. One of I think there's two components. Is one is having great content and then the second one is always having content.
yes.
Because you have to be consistent with the content that you put out, and by having consistency, people are always going to see your face. And if they constantly see it, it's like a trigger point. They're like, oh, okay, this is
Impression.
this is like Slim Sarah. Like Slim Sarah is always constantly on, and she's putting content consistently, and she's putting great content. People are always going to remember that. It's like a trigger, and it's like, oh, okay, Slim Sarah is here, and they're seeing it, and it's like, okay, I'm going to check her out. I'm going to see what she's up to, and you have a following, and that's how you grow your following. I think that's like, and
consistency is key.
Yes, consistency is key. And you know what? I've been very guilty of not being as consistent, only because I do other things behind the scenes, so it's a little bit more difficult. But
also the type of content that you're putting out there too, and how you're appealing to your audience, and making sure that you're putting thought-provoking things out there so that it will spark someone's interest, and hey, like, what's this all about, and engaging in your audience and asking questions, and just giving a ton of value in whatever it is that you're doing or whatever message it is that you're trying to get across.
So database consistency, data-based, not just database, but is is key as well. So if you look at a post that's posted on at 11:30 a.m. in the morning, I always love the 11:30 post, just because it's a lot of. It's actually a lot of when my following's on. If you think about it, at that time of day, especially East Coast time, what are people doing around 11:30? They're wrapping, they're wrapping up their activity that they're doing for work, getting ready to go to lunch, and in that like brief half hour between 11:30 and 12 o'clock time period, they're on social media, they're checking their email, they're doing whatever. So, and if you think about on West Coast, they're just getting into work, and the first thing you do when you get into work, you check your email, you check your socials, see what's going on before you start your day.
Yes.
So.
And I think in a good given time, I would say on average, people get on at least once a day on social media.
Absolutely.
To the most, like maybe once in the morning, once in the evening, just to catch up to see what's going on with other people, following up on, like, let's say conversations that you posted and you just wanted to see if there's any feedback. But I would say in a normal day for the average person, they get on at least once to see what's up, what's the latest that is being posted, and engaging in some kind of conversation with someone. So
yeah, I mean, what was it? The average person has 3 or 4 social media platforms right now.
Yes.
And 2 or 3 email accounts that they use.
Yes.
It's,
Yep, that's so true.
The level of connectivity nowadays is crazy.
Yeah.
So.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Like from what I've seen, in regards to like emails and like social media accounts, the ones that have like businesses, they have one personal and then one business.
Yes. Absolutely. So separating those 2 brands.
Yes.
And still having, like, it's almost a pet peeve of mine.
Yes.
When I see someone on social media and they're constantly posting business stuff on their personal social media.
Yes.
Like, if I wanted to follow your business brand, I would have followed the business brand.
Yes.
I kind of want to see what you're doing as a person.
Yes.
Right? And I get that work takes up. I mean, I know 16 hours a day roughly in my life. So it takes up a big portion. But having that separation is key. So
now, like, let me ask you a quick question, because now you kind of like triggered a thought in my mind in regards to this. I see that people post on Facebook, they have a business page or a fan page or whatever, and then they have a personal page. And in a previous episode that I did, I was talking about how certain people feel a certain type of way of keeping things separate. And I was suggesting that if you're going to have, let's say, a personal page and you're doing business with people and you're engaging with them, the kind of content that you put in on your personal, if you're having let's say 60% personal and 40% business, or vice versa, whatever, that there should be some kind of you have to be restricted in the type of content that you put up. And what I mean by that is that you shouldn't be posting like racy to whatever type of pictures. And I'm not talking about like, hey, you're wearing something sexy or anything. Like, I'm talking about like you might be mistaken to be in a different industry, or saying something or doing something inappropriate that people that don't know you well enough are just coming in to try to get to know you on that level of what you're posting. And believe it or not, I feel that sometimes by what you're posting, people are going to mistake that as who you are as a person and what you're representing as a company. And sometimes that can jeopardize things.
Yeah, so when you're, at the end of the day, your brand represents you and you represent your brand. So if one of my team members posts something out on Facebook that's not necessarily appropriate or yeah, it could be questionable. It definitely, and people look and they see ESC Marketing Group as their place of employment. I mean, it definitely comes back on the brand ESC in a way, but then also because being the CEO of ESC and being the face of the company comes back to me as well. So, and then you start, rumors go around and that kind of thing, potentially, but luckily that's not that's not ever the case with my guys. But yeah, so it's you have to be careful with it. So
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I've seen, and like you're in the fitness industry, you're taking pictures of selfies and stuff like that.
I've slowed it down a little bit.
No,
with
but
selfies.
it's a little bit different because the type of pictures that you put up is more fitness
Try
wise,
to keep
which
it
is
fitness related.
yeah, which is within the industry.
absolutely.
But when you're like too revealing or too whatever, it gets misconstrued, and sometimes and
keep
that's
it
not
classy.
yeah, and that's like not your intentions. It's more like maybe you're just being a certain type of way, but people take it the wrong, and especially the people that don't know you well enough, like they don't know your personality, they don't know your character. They're just coming in, they're like saying they just friended you, and they're like looking at this like okay, and right off the bat that kind of jeopardizes a little bit of what you're doing with your company. And sometimes looks can be deceiving.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, the first thing you search on Google after you search the company, just search the person that you're talking to, or vice versa, depending on how you interacted with the brand. So it definitely, I mean, there's a correlation there, and it reflects. So.
And again, it's what you're connecting. Like just from my own experience, it's what you're connecting that content with what you're saying, what value you're giving. So for me, for example, there's been a lot of times where I will post a progress picture of myself because I've been in the fitness industry for 7 years. And man, the hate mail I've gotten, I won't even go there, but for me, it's, a way to motivate other people and say, hey, like, I got myself here, you can do it too. And I will try to add something to that to motivate people. So, and you know what? People are always going to have an opinion no matter what. And opinions are like, well, I'm sure you both know what they're like. And at the end of the day, you just got to be your authentic self and just keep doing you and let people think whatever they want to think and stay true to yourself. And the people who are going to do business with you are going to do business with you, and if they don't, then they're lost,
Always.
So, Shawn, in regards to, let's say, for the impending 2018, what do you see technology going, or how do you see marketing going for people in business?
As far as technology goes, there's going to be, from what I see, a big boom in virtual reality and artificial intelligence both. When I'm on a day-to-day basis, I work with different artificial intelligence platforms, and it's in order to do my marketing. And it's a lot of marketing actually. They're taking the human element out of it, as far as SEO, what's being posted. So it's actually kind of incredible how it learns. It can define your target market and all that kind of thing by just scraping your market social media pages.
How do you think that'll affect jobs in the future?
So I'm thinking there'll be some job displacement, but on the same front, there's going to be more jobs opened up.
Right.
So computer programmers, I think, are going to become your blue collar worker, right? So if you look at it now, most of the computer programmers out there, they learn a lot of their programming before they actually go into college or before they get a formal education. So they're the people that tinker in the world, right? So a lot of mechanics, for instance, on the same note, um, would they mess around with cars before they actually go into the field. So you see a lot of that with programmers right now, and with the emergence of everything going on, there's a lot of jobs in that field. So and they're very well paying too. So
Okay, so it's like there's like some kind of balance. So one thing shifts to there's certain people that might be losing their job, as a- but there's also going to be openings. So there's like a balance, and that tends to happen when specific things in business change, and and that's unfortunate, but that's the way it happens. I think in any industry, when there is new opportunities for companies or industries to grow, you're going to be set back in certain circumstances, but also grow in others, and that's kind of like the what you have to take in when you're going in an advanced direction.
absolutely.
And so in regards to, because now like you're talking about artificial intelligence, and that's kind of like what I hear a lot coming up.
Yep.
So it seems like various industries like Google and and like
So
they're doing a little bit more of that,
yes.
and that word keeps coming up a lot.
Cars are driving themselves, man.
Yeah. Actually, I just watched a lecture on self-driving cars the other day.
Tesla?
No, yeah, I don't remember who it was, but I just kind of was like scrolling through TV channels. It was like one of the local channels that popped up, and um, it was really interesting because they were talking about the ethics behind self-driving cars and the decisions it's going to have to make on
Would
the
you
road.
get one?
Would I get one?
Yeah.
I would think about it. It would definitely be. It would be interesting. So.
I wouldn't be able to do it.
Really?
No. Would you?
I feel a little iffy of having some machine take over driving, because if there's
You
some
feel
kind of
safer
glitch,
with that versus me.
what I'm saying is, I think that even though there's more it's more accurate and on point having a robot or artificial intelligence behind a car that's driving. But let's say that there is a glitch. You're basically helpless in a sense, because you're you're allowing whatever it is to take control of that. And yes, maybe I'm a little old-fashioned, because there is human error. I mean, there's drivers out there that also can create some kind of catastrophe, but I think it's not the same. I think that with a human, still they can stop it. As to if there's a machine, I can't. I can't physically stop it for whatever reason, and so I feel on the fence on it. I mean, it is an advantage, because now you take away a human putting in 8-10 hours, let's say, as a driver or as a pilot or whatever, and you're putting in a machine that is calculating everything and would be able to do it nonstop 24 hours. But what happens if something with that machine, there's some kind of hiccup and it messes up? Then what?
Listen, I'll get a robot to cook me breakfast, but as far as driving me around, I'll drive myself around.
Yeah, I'm a little iffy about that. Maybe it's just me, but I don't know. I mean, listen, what's his name? Elon Musk was talking about like doing this whole thing about having like what is it, like a train or something? Or
the Hyperloop.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
supposed to go from Washington D.C. to New York in a certain amount of time or whatever.
So they're actually implementing it between Montreal and Vancouver first.
Okay.
And you're supposed to be able to get between those two cities within like an hour, I think.
Yeah.
And then what they were saying is you can go from New York to California, I think in 3.
Let's do it.
Is what they were saying.
Yeah.
So that's quite an interesting concept as far as so it's a train that runs on magnets pretty much.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
there's the loop is actually made of magnets all the way around, and then the train is wrapped in them. So if you've ever played with magnets at all, I was weird as a kid because that's but so if you push the two of the same polarized pieces of a magnet together, they push apart,
Yes.
right? So same concept. So that's how this train floats without any friction. And then if you vacuum the tube, so in that way there's no air in it, you can actually push things through it very, very fast speeds.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, that's interesting.
Right.
Yep.
That's so interesting. Now, we were talking about self-driven cars and possibly having autopilot airplanes per se.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I heard recently, correct me if I'm wrong, where NASA and Uber or something like that were planning to put. I don't know. I heard that. I've heard it like in 3 different. I think it was like radio and TV or something, where they're planning to put something together so that they can have like cars that hover. So like the thing with Back to the Future might be in existence. I mean, listen, we're in 2000. We're going into 2018.
Meet the Jetsons.
Yep.
And,
yeah, exactly.
right?
I was gonna say.
And it's the funniest thing because some of the things that you see in movies about what the future might be is now coming a reality. Mm-hmm. So this thing with Back to the Future where they have those cars that kind of like hover and float and stuff like that, now it seems like it's coming to existence. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, if you look back to when the Jetsons was like really prominent, they thought it was going to happen by the year 2000, which 20-ish years later, it's coming around.
I mean, hey, look at hoverboards. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's on my Christmas list.
Yeah.
If I had a hoverboard in here right now, oh my god.
You know what? I was actually looking at a documentary. Do not quote me because I'm really bad when it comes to like names of movies or like titles of documentaries.
I won't hold you to it.
But I was watching one where they were talking about like a hovercraft, and they took that concept from what supposedly were like the UFOs. Like like they say that UFOs have been around. It's just it's not really exposed to the public. But they took that, I guess when one landed, I think that Roswell, Area 51 or something, they...
I can't tell you too much, I'm actually an alien.
They studied the mechanics and the engineering of that, and they were able to get some of the concept of that, or they were able to create some kind of like hovercraft or something. And they actually had a documentary and they showed it, but it never went out to the public because there were still some glitches. And now that we're, fast forward, this is like in the late 80s, early 90s. So that was quite some time back. Mm-hmm. And now it seems like they perfected it to an extent where now you're looking at NASA and Uber. Can you imagine if you're getting literally if you're getting lifted, you're getting lifted off the ground and just seen, zoomed out somewhere. But it's an amazing thing that we're now everything that we've seen, what the future is like in movies and TVs. Like you have Star Trek, and now I'm starting to admit that I'm a
Are you a Trekkie?
I'm a Trekkie. I'm a nerd. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. I am a nerd. I'm into Star Wars and Star Trek and all of that. But you know how they get beamed?
Yes.
And they go from place to place. Hey, that might happen, very soon.
I'm going to beam myself to Shane's after this.
And then you have Blade Runner where you have the the artificial intelligence, you have the robots, and they are like, you know, doing all this other stuff. So we're getting to that point. I mean, I think Domino's has their first robot. I don't know if it's in Arizona. Don't quote me on that, guys, but I heard it.
Can they beam me a lava cake right here?
Yeah, they had the robot go up and deliver. You know, so that's kind of crazy. So you imagine if you have like someone knocking on the door and you open it, it's like a robot. He's like, here's your pizza, or here's your whatever it is that you're getting delivered. But it's kind of like getting to that point that like the Terminator and you know all these other movies, it's really coming to life. And
they just created that robot recently.
Yeah, you have like that Sophia one.
Yes, I was like, what's her name?
Yeah, Sophia. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, like, and I heard this too, I don't know if that's the actual truth, but I've been seeing articles on it, and I heard about it, where Google, was it Google? I think it was Google that had artificial intelligence, and they created their own language, so I had to like shut it.
It was Facebook that did that.
Oh, Facebook. Okay. Yep. See, sorry guys. So it was Facebook, and literally, they started their own language within them. So that's to show you that that's how intelligent they were. That they were able to create their own language, and humans couldn't understand it, and they said, "Shut it down." Can you imagine? Terminator.
Do you think robots will take over the world?
There's speculation. So people have. So it's interesting. So because you have to be able to control it in some sort of way.
Yeah.
And there's always someone who's going to program it, right?
Yes.
So could it be more intelligent than the person programming it?
That's what I'm saying.
If it's constantly learning, potentially, but you would probably be able to shut it down before it got to that point, much like we did with Facebook.
Blackout.
Which is why I wouldn't be too concerned with it.
Yeah. What I think is an amazing factor in this is that robots in particular, they're programmed to like learn a lot and gain a lot of knowledge. As to us humans, we can do it to a certain capacity, meaning we can only absorb a certain amount of content and knowledge before like our, at a given time, before our brain starts to shut down, because it's information overload. And I'm not saying it's not impossible. You can gain a lot of knowledge, but there's also a setback with that. Like if you gain too much knowledge, then what happens? And I don't know if you've seen that, but the people that are highly intelligent are also have a level of insanity in them, if that makes sense, because it's like
It's true, but at the same time, a person with like an extremely high IQ can also get very stuck and lost in their head. So this is why I always preach about EQ, emotional intelligence, being, in my opinion, more important in business than IQ. Because again, you can read all the books you want in the world, but if you don't have emotional intelligence, then
that's one of the factors in psychology. When you and it's a proven study that the people that are highly intelligent and are very, very book smart, they are socially awkward. They don't interact as someone that is, let's say, on average per se. And so there has to be a happy medium between that. If you're absorbing too much too much information at a given time, you start reverting socially. And that's what happens with people that are always they become introverts.
Hold on to a certain amount at a given time as well.
Yes.
And, obviously apply it.
Yes, but you have a happy balance. But now getting back on more of a relevant topic, we got sidetracked there. With all of
It was the robots.
It was the robot, the artificial intelligence that got us bypassed, that got us sidetracked.
That's always it's always a big conversation for me.
It's interesting.
So yeah.
But getting into more like on the marketing, the advertising, digital factor of things, with social media, like where do you see social media in regards to like the Facebook and the Instagram? Like where do you see it in that direction? Because Facebook and Instagram kind of merged in a way where they're kind of
Yes.
like leveraging each other
So I
with the
think
platform.
um, I think they're all chasing the next big thing, and what that is, who knows? Because it's about people, and people are unpredictable.
Let's get
Yes.
MySpace back.
Oh boy, that was a while ago.
And that was the MySpace. MySpace was like the Facebook at that time.
Yeah, so
It was, yeah.
MySpace was the Facebook at that time, and then Facebook came out, and they were kind of like the two competing things. So you were either on like one or you were on the other.
Yes.
And then everybody eventually came in with all the cool kids and
How do you feel about Snapchat now? Because what I've noticed is that all these other platforms are taking that idea of Snapchat and they're applying it. So you got the Insta Snap, you got the Facebook Snap. I'm wondering why Snapchat hasn't come up with a live feature, but then again, Snapchat also drains my phone, so there's that too.
Yes. Well, I think because like Instagram has their Snap feature and Facebook has their Snap feature, Snapchat, I mean, you can even see it in their stocks took a nice little dive because of it. And yeah, when they made their IPO. So Snapchat, it's a very hard platform to advertise
Do you
on.
slog?
I don't. Thinking about getting into it though.
She's definitely the person to teach you because she's starting to teach me on that.
I learned from a friendly flipper, so
yeah. We have a deal going on that Sarah's going to teach me how to do more of, and Jeremy too, because he was like, we all pinky swore on this. We're all going to teach each other something in social media. So they're going to teach me more of Snapchat and more of the perks of Facebook. And in return, I'll teach them about LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is like, this is kind of more like the old fogey of the group.
How do you like LinkedIn?
So being
Yes,
a younger person on LinkedIn, I still love LinkedIn.
Yes.
So if you direct message somebody on LinkedIn, you have a better chance of them opening it than if you send an email right now.
Yes.
And then, so that's actually a nice little segue into virtual reality as well. With Microsoft's acquisition of LinkedIn, I think you're going to see a lot of virtual workspaces come from that. And then LinkedIn is also the owner of lynda.com. Mm-hmm. So, and Lynda is a virtual classroom, or an online classroom. So if you actually have then a headset where you can take classes and
this is the first time I'm hearing about
online.
this. Lynda?
Yeah, Lynda.
Yep.
It's my mom's name.
But it's Lynda. It has like each letter indicates
that's her
something.
Name.
Really?
Yes.
With a Y and everything?
Oh, I thought you said L. Wow, I wasn't paying attention.
Okay, no, but yeah, Lynda is everything is virtual. Like if you wanted to know about marketing or get more familiar with it, they'll teach you.
When did that come out?
It's been a while. It's been like maybe about 2-3 years.
2-3 years.
Where have I been?
We'll see.
That's why we need to teach you more about teaching. I told you. There's a lot. No, seriously, there's a lot of, and I say this all the time. LinkedIn is my best friend because there's a lot of perks. One of the things that you don't have to worry about the 5,000 max capacity that you have on Facebook.
On Facebook,
you can have thousands. Like right now, I'm at 14,000 connections, and once you hit like 30,000, I think you can qualify as being like a public figure in that, and then you can have them follow you automatically after that. One of the other perks is that you can start writing articles, and the more articles that you put up, LinkedIn sees you as being like the expert in the field. So they'll start driving all of the connections of that industry or similar industries towards you because you become that expert. So that's like another perk. And the other great thing about it is that LinkedIn is like your resume or your CV. So you put in everything. And a lot of the times, if like, let's say that you are, have an employer or a potential employer is looking for your info, or let's say that you have you have your own business and people always want to know who they're dealing with. So they'll automatically go to LinkedIn, they'll look at your profile, they'll see what you're all about, and there you have it. It's like an instant resume or CV. So those are like the perks. And every time that you add something,
100%.
and this is one of the great things about that is that every time that you add something new, in regards to your career or business at a new venture, that pops up and your connection starts to see it automatically and they'll start sending you messages. And that's a great way to be able to rekindle that conversation with them. So like if you haven't spoken to them in, let's say, a couple months, once you put that in, it pops up right away. People are going to start thanking you, congratulating you, whatever it is. You see it and you can start a conversation with them. And then that takes you into the direction of having a potential client or partner, who knows. But that's like a great perk. And the same thing if you have an anniversary coming up.
Absolutely.
It pops up as well. And that's another way of being able to, follow up with them. So I mean, I can talk about LinkedIn until my face turns blue because it's like it's like you guys find Facebook to be like cool and Snapchat. LinkedIn, I find to be like the coolest thing because there's so many great perks with LinkedIn overall. I mean, you have the online, you have the Linda,
Yep.
You have groups. Another great tip: if you are in a specific industry and you want to connect, there are groups in those industries that you can connect with, and that basically multiplies the connections overall. Because if you're in a group and there's like 4,000 or 5,000 members, right there you're connected with those members that might not be under your direct connections. And if you start posting articles or posting stuff up there, they'll start noticing you and they'll start approaching you, and that's like another way to be able to interact as well. So take the advantage. LinkedIn is the way to go. No, I say this all the time. It's like it's a great platform for business if you really want to.
I gotta get on my LinkedIn game.
And I'm not saying that Facebook you can't connect with good business individuals, but LinkedIn would cement it because those are serious people that are on there and they're looking to just connect to connect business wise. And when they approach you, it's because they want to do business. They're not trying to play around or anything. They're just serious about
Facebook. It's a whole other story.
Well, you
Messenger.
Can, this is how I follow it. If I have like a connection with someone through LinkedIn, if I want to get to know them a little bit more on a personal level, like possibly become friends with them down the road, then Facebook would be the best way to go, because now you've connected with them on a business level. You know how what they are all about business wise. But now you're taking it on that level that if you want to now become friends with them and you want to get a little bit more personable with them, have that friendship.
Yeah, I feel like Facebook is the platform where it's kind of like you just let your hair down and you know it's more.
Well, that's also the difference between keeping your personal brand and your business brand a little separate.
Yeah.
So I post a lot of my personal stuff on Facebook, and very few people on LinkedIn will ever see it. Mm-hmm. I post a lot of my business related stuff on LinkedIn, and very few people will see it on my Facebook unless I choose to share it or something like that. Yeah. Like, hey, here's what's going on in my business kind of deal. Mm-hmm. But Facebook's great for updating people on personal things, and having that personal element to your business as well, right? Because if I'm going to do business with somebody, I want to know who they are.
Letting people know that you're human.
Exactly. So.
And here's another tip that I don't think that people are familiar with, and I had this discussion with someone a while ago. You know who it is, but people don't know outside who it is, but that's irrelevant. Another perk and I don't know if you do this as part of like the services or anything, and I don't know if people are aware of this, but if you're looking to brand yourself as an expert, or if you want to be known in any industry that you're in, um, if you're having articles written on you,
Yes.
and let's say like not just magazines and newspapers and stuff like that, but like if you're doing video or TV or radio interviews, that gets logged, and it's logged in the public. So if there's a search engine and they start checking it out, what happens is that your name starts to pop up because there are certain tag names, or there are certain keywords that are relevant, and it pops up, and it puts you into the front runner of that particular industry per se. Another perk that people don't know is that by also having these articles put up and it's visible, it has a history, like a written history on you, and you can actually create a Wikipedia page. And people don't know, like they're not aware of that. That the more articles that are written, the more that you have. I forgot the word for it, where they can like have references, like
more
the reference.
Credibility.
Yes, it has more credibility, and you can have a Wikipedia page put up, and people get impressed by that, ladies and gentlemen. You know that you guys do, where you Google someone, you put whatever, that name comes up, it's like poof, you have a Wikipedia page. It's like, wow, that's awesome. That person is real, like this person is really important.
Yep.
Yes. You know what?
Am I on Wikipedia?
And that's a little secret that I shared recently, and I learned. And again, it has to do with this. It increases putting you in the front runner or the front page of the SEO when they're looking up your name. So that's another little tidbit right there. I should be working for you now. I should be like working for you, and it's like no, because seriously, I think because of what I do here in the media forefront, you always have to like know innovative ways to like really know how to put things out there and
put your client in front of people.
Exactly, and I think that that's more than any the main reason why I do this is because when I'm interviewing people, it's like, oh, that's amazing and everything else, and that's a platform for them to really get that exposure so that people know who they are and and put their name out there.
That's the other reason why I'm still a big advocate of Twitter, is because it's something else that's searchable under your name, but then Twitter also ranks really high on SEO. I don't remember the reason why, but it's actually like if you have a Twitter page and a Facebook page and they both have the same amount of interaction, your Twitter page will actually show up first.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I have a Twitter account, but I'm not religiously on Twitter. Twitter, you can have a large following of people and you can interact overall. Now, does it have to do with the hashtags? Like if you're posting and you're putting hashtags, is that kind of like putting more visibility out there, like for the keywords or
hashtags? Helps you define your niche market, right? And helps you to find your niche market. So people that are searching, I'm a huge basketball fan, so we'll go basketball. You can do hashtag basketball and that post will pop up. And especially if you have a basketball brand like Nike, if you're doing hashtag basketball or hashtag ball is life or any of those, it allows for the people. It allows for those people to associate with your brand and find you a lot easier on Instagram. You can do the same thing with Facebook or on Twitter. I mean, you can do the same thing with Facebook and Instagram as well, and add hashtags into your posts and comments.
Gotta get out of Twitter game. That's how Gary Vee blew his business up.
See, that's where because even though I'm on the social media platform and I kind of like know the gist of each one and how to utilize it, and I'm growing out my my following on the other platforms. Twitter has always been a little bit confusing to me because I hear that it's a great platform for you to have your opinion and your point across to the masses, but I really don't know like how like how to like utilize it properly.
So you tend to have a lot of the same kind of person following you on Twitter. So like with me, it was a lot of entrepreneurial and business-minded people, and I follow a lot of those pages as well. I My Twitter game has actually been lacking a little bit myself, but when I was a lot more active on it, that's who was following me and I was reciprocating with. So you fall into your own niche little world on Twitter, but it's very effective from a communication standpoint and a business sales standpoint, in the fact that you can target a very specific market through there. So.
Okay, now I have a trivia question. Now that we're talking about Twitter, because I heard this on YouTube, because YouTube is like another great platform too, and there's a lot of things that you can do with YouTube. But does anybody know, out of celebrities, who has the highest Twitter following in the music industry?
That I don't know. Not off the top of my head.
No?
Who are you asking me?
Nobody knows. Do not quote me, but I heard that Katy Perry.
Huh.
Katy Perry. I don't know how many millions. I
was gonna guess Taylor Swift.
No, not 2 million or 10 million. I think she's like up there, like 120 million following or something like that. Like that's
incredible.
Like that's beast mode. Like that. Like she's like really up there. And yes, Taylor Swift is not too far behind her. You know, they have that little feud, frenemy thing going on. And now that it just popped into my head. Everything now is that has the access to live stream. Like you have Facebook, you can do live stream. Instagram, you can do live stream. Twitter now, like as of like this past year, I just found out that you can do live stream. So now, and YouTube as well, you can do live shows. So like that's like a big thing now where just going and doing live stream, because people like to capture the moment. They don't really want to sit there and kind of find out about it like 2 or 3 hours later. They want to know it and see it right at the moment. And that's another way to also capture and grab the audience attention, is by being able to do things live at the moment, because people are literally they're on their phone already and they're scrolling and everything. But if they see, hey, notification, this person is live, and they see it, and you have great content that you're providing, they're going to be following you constantly. They're going to see what's this person up to.
If it's good content.
No, that's what I'm saying. If it's good content, they're going to be following you all the time. And that's the thing, that that's like the great perk now is live stream, and we started to do live stream. Yeah. And we're going to continue doing live stream too. So by the time this video comes out, you're going to be seeing more of us doing live stream. So stay tuned on that. And then with YouTube, lastly, YouTube, because I think that everything else is basically self-explained. In Twitter, now we know the mystery behind Twitter and how it works. But YouTube, because YouTube, I think that I've seen a few YouTubers that are doing very well. They have it branded in specific industries, more so of like fashion and beauty. Like those are the ones that I've seen like a lot, but they have like 2-3 million following. I'm like, that is crazy. And the one of the craziest things about YouTube that I've seen is that once you hit that million mark, advertisers start coming to you, and sponsors, they're coming to you. And you can make a great business just on that alone, and generating income from that. That's like, that's crazy.
Being a social media influencer can have its perks.
Yes.
So it allows you to almost, from what I've seen, lead a lifestyle that's well beyond your means.
Yes.
So which is kind of cool, I guess. In some
Wait,
in
you know
some
what's
regards.
so crazy? The craziest things, guys, and I'm not knocking it because listen, what this show is about how to make money. And if you're hustling, and I totally respect that. But YouTube, I've seen that some of these people that have their channel and they have these millions of following, they're like celebrities. They're like they're literally out
like Jenna Marbles,
and they're like
love her.
like a TV or film celebrity. That's like crazy to me. There is this one, I can't recall her name. Is it Jenna James? No, that's not her.
Marbles.
No. There's quite a few that come to my mind, but I can't remember like the actual names. But there was this one that I saw.
The Bread and Milk.
No. There is this one
Please tell me you know what that is.
She is a YouTuber, and she's like a huge celebrity, and they actually did they did a whole mannequin, a wax mannequin of her, and they had it on display. She went to the grand opening, the unveiling of her little clone. And then another one comes to mind is Gigi Gorgeous is one that she has, I don't know how many millions of following. There's Shane Dawson is another one. There's oh my god, Trisha Paytas. Do not ask me how I know, guys, because at one point I was addicted to YouTube, and all I was watching is like YouTube videos of all these people, because it's interesting how they were able to build a business from just doing these YouTube videos.
Oh, absolutely.
And they've done it for a couple of years, and they started to, grow their following, and now they have 2-3 million, and it's like a full-time job for them, and all they do is record. Listen, I mean, who can knock that hustle? I mean, that's
sounds like fun to me.
It is. I mean, it really is. It's like, it's basically having your own TV show. You're basically blogging about about your life. Some blog, some of them, what they do is they record video content, kind of like what I do here with the podcast. They do something similar, or they do vlogging, which is just documenting things that are going on the day to day, and they actually get paid for it. So, I mean, that's amazing. That's branding yourself.
Yep.
There's quite a few others I can't remember right now, but when I started to see the numbers, I was like, oh my god, 2 million, 3 million. There's like these following of people, and all they do is put content out, and they're getting paid. The advertisers, those commercials where when you first click in and then you start seeing those commercials pop up, those are put there purposely because they're getting paid for that. So every time there's a click, they get paid. Isn't that amazing?
Pay-per-click model.
Yes. Yes. But that's how they get their income.
Yep.
So, I mean, with the marketing and what you're
absolutely.
doing, that's like basically being able to put yourself out in the forefront of the audience and say, hey, this is my presence, this is what I represent, this is what I'm doing. Want to follow me? Do you want to do business with me? That's basically what you're doing for them.
Absolutely. So, make people pseudo famous.
But that's a great thing. I mean, like, you're basically helping people be able to go out into the public and put themselves out there.
Yep, put themselves out there and be visible. So
yeah, and visible is key. I think that's what most of us are trying to do, is have visibility in front of the public and putting your brand out there, putting your business out there.
Mm-hmm.
And
what would be your best advice for somebody who wants to be more visible?
So it's actually what we touched on earlier. So quality of content, for one. If you can get people to start talking about the stuff that you're putting out on the internet, that's huge. The other thing is consistency. So having that good content coming out more than just once. And that will allow you to really grow your brand and grow your business. Also tracking analytics on the back end of it, and making sure that you're doing everything efficiently, right? And paying attention to how many people are engaging with your brand and engaging with your content. So
best way to do that?
best way to do that. So through fan pages, Facebook pages, all that kind of stuff, they provide you with really good analytics. Twitter provides you with fantastic analytics. Um, there are a couple of different third-party services and platforms that will do all of it for you. So,
And I'm looking at you because you're become a professional at it. I mean, she's really good. She does like she does like the case studies behind the scenes. But
Yep.
one of the things that Facebook has is Facebook Manager, which they like you manage your business pages, and it'll give you all the analytics of what works, what
100%.
doesn't work, how many interactions are going through with the people that are following you. And then yes, they have for those people that really can't afford to spend a lot of money to market it out. If you want to do it on a budget, you can actually, and Instagram does the same thing, where you can promote your page and you can start off as less as like $5 and it reaches maybe 320 people. If it's like $20, you can reach maybe 1,200 to 2,000 people,
Yep.
depending on a given day, because sometimes they have like promotions.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and you can basically spread it out in a certain amount of time. So like $20, you can spread it out to like eight to 14 days, and it'll reach, let's say, 1,000 to 2,000 people within your group. Or let's say if you put in the region, it'll tell you like the regions that are in similar industries, they would be able to see it as well. So like those are like for people that are more on a budget and they can't afford to really spend that money. But if you really wanted to go to the masses and be able to do it more on a faster note, even organically, but more on a faster note, than going with a digital marketing company is the way to go, because you guys be able to monitor it, and then there's also specific programs that you use that would be able to go back to and kind of pull all of the audience that you need.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The other thing is efficiency.
Yes.
So with paper marketing, if you send out a mailer, for instance, I know in real estate that's a huge thing.
Yes.
Is sending out mailers. You don't actually ever know who's looking at those and all that kind of stuff, where you can really gauge, like I said, the interaction. So
Definitely. So, guys, I think we're close to an hour in, if I'm not mistaken. We're close to. I don't got my glasses with me, so excuse that. Yeah, we have like an hour, so we're going to be wrapping up. And Shawn, for our listeners or viewers out there, where can they find you?
so you can find me on all social media platforms, obviously. But you can contact me through my company's website, escmgroup.com. And if you just look me up on Google, Shawn Hiner, you can find all my social media pages and my company as well. So, yep.
Awesome. And Slim Sarah,
Hey.
where can they find you?
They can find me on Facebook at Sarah Isabella. Don't forget the H, I'm Sarah, and Slim Sarah on Instagram.
And guys, for all of you out there that want to continue seeing me, seeing the Work Your Money, or possibly this is your first time and you just want to follow, you can follow us through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's all Work Your Money or Work Your Money Podcast. On YouTube is Work Your Money Podcast. You can also check out our website, which is workyourmoney.net. And if you want to you want to tune in live Saturdays, usually at the radio station, you can do that at B-Box between 2:30 to 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. And if you're seeing this on TV and you want to see this at the actual channel, that's Universe Network TV, Channel 45, Realty TV. So guys, I was super excited to talk about digital marketing and how this has been a beneficial, and knowing what we will see for 2018. So I'm trying to learn more because of the fact I'm a little bit of a old fogey, I would say. I'm learning more about the social media platform, Snapchat, because of Sarah. I'm getting more into Snapchat. And that's it. So, guys, until the next time, this is the Working Money Podcast. Bye.